So real quickly, I'm going to show you again. I've got just a standard planter from Lowe's. It's plastic. Pick whichever one you want. Doesn't really matter. I wanted to get something that was a little bit deeper so you can kind of see the perspective of how deep it is. It's about as deep all the way up to my wrist. So anyway, cut a hole in the bottom that matches the bottom side of this Uniseal, matches that side. This is a 3/4 inch Uniseal. I'll link to it, and you just kind of measure. I believe it's a 3/4 of an inch outer diameter hole, but you can measure it and drill the appropriate hole to fit the outside of the Uniseal. So the theory is you put the Uniseal in there, you press it in like that, and it's snug. And then as I push the standpipe through there, twist it a little bit, it'll come out the bottom about like that, and you can see that the Uniseal kind of protrudes out the bottom a little bit. And as that PVC goes through there, it is pressing that rubber Uniseal up against the hole that we cut, and it makes it airtight. So the water is only going to flow through. Get this here where I can point. The water is only going to flow through the PVC pipe, and it's not going to leak out the edge. Okay, now you need to be sure and position this hole wherever you want the water to drain. You know, depending on what you're sitting in on top of, depending on the shape and size of your aquarium. I wanted mine to drain on the side, so that's why I put it there. But you know, there's no magic reason on where that can go. It can go in the middle, it can go anywhere that you want it to. Keep in mind that a lot of these plastic planters have ridges and raised areas on the bottom that will make it hard for that to seal up. So keep that in mind that you're picking a spot, especially on the inside. As you can see, this is actually a raised area. Then there's like a little crisscross design there. So one of the reasons I picked it here is because it was a flat space that I could seal it up with. And if you look on the other side, there's kind of a flat space right there. So if I would have done it over here, I would have put it on this side, somewhere in this area. So that's all that is. So you press it down however far you want the water level to go. So I drilled holes in this 3/4 inch PVC cap. Just drilled regular old holes in the top of it. So as the water rises and it gets to those holes, it'll start draining down. And I put enough large holes in it to where it should maintain a water level at about that height, which is going to be about right there, somewhere about right there on the edge of my bed, which is a little more than half. This other one that I put, same Uniseal, same everything design. The reason I put this one here is just kind of as an overflow, so that if for some reason this gets clogged up with roots or whatever, because things happen, that some of the water will drain through here. That's Penelope over there whining, trying to get outside. So that if this does clog up here, that this one will start draining water out. And I just got that coming out the back. And I put a little 90°, then another PVC to let that drain back into the fish tank there. So you want to angle that to where it will drain into your aquarium as well, as kind of an overflow spot. So 2 places for it to drain. This one obviously has to be higher than this one, so that if this one fails, the water rises a little bit more. It's only going to rise to this level, then it's going to stop. Okay, so the water could go as high as there, but I'm going to try to keep it more along the lines of down there, which is equal to that one. Anyway, that's all it is. So I'm going to put a little pump, just a regular aquarium pump or a pond pump or a fountain pump. You can get them at Lowe's, you can get them at Amazon. They're about 15 bucks. You want to get one that has enough water flow for what I'm doing. I think I want the flow to be at least 120 to 150 gallons per hour. Because I'm going to be there's quite a bit of depth from where the pump's going to go, and I'm just going to run the hose up the top, and then I've got some little holes drilled right here, and I'm just using zip ties to hold my little hose right here, so that it just kind of pours water in here, and then so the water fills up to that level, then it drains back down, and it's just a constant water flow. So the water is always constantly flowing, and you want to do enough of a pump, a large enough pump, so that the water flows and turns the water quite a few times You don't want the water to be stagnant. So I had to empty this out because I had too short of a standpipe here, and also had drilled extra holes down in the bottom of it, because my experience with aquaponics was that sometimes the pump is going to be flowing fast enough to where these bottom holes don't drain it enough and the water's still going to rise. But what it did for me is these little bottom holes that I had drilled, I'll show it to you. This was the original standpipe I used. These holes were enough to keep the water level super low. So when I pushed that through, I was only getting about 1 inch of water sitting in the bottom, which wasn't quite enough when I wanted to put some cuttings in there and let them root while they're in the bed. So I took this one out and got rid of all the holes on the standpipe and just have the holes at the top. So the water should go all the way up to the top before it starts draining.